Do it.
Hello and welcome to episode 154 of the Pixel Street podcast. 154 episodes, John. How are you feeling?
Old.
What episode did we kind of relaunch the podcast after I had stopped doing it?
So
Like
where
when did you
did I
join?
join?
Yeah, when did you join? Was it like 70 something?
30? No, way before that.
Okay.
30 something, I want
I
to
don't
say.
know. Either way, it's a lot of podcasts. A lot of
Yeah,
podcasts.
it's been a fun time. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, for real. Yes, this is episode 154 of the Pixel Street podcast, where each and every week we talk about video juegos, John. Sometimes we get off topic. We talk a lot about your nacho cheese machine that, for whatever reason, you don't give us enough information about. You don't talk
It's
about
so
it
good.
enough.
I love it. That's because I'm hoarding all of it for myself. It's so good.
Yeah,
I love it.
you don't want to drive the price of the cheese up, so you don't want to
Right?
talk
Yeah.
about how great it is and then make it more difficult for you to find the cheese.
Yeah, we don't want big cheese getting too big-headed here, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing a service for all of us by not talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, you're just hoarding the cheese, and then you're gonna drive the price up and start selling. You're gonna become a cheese scalper.
Oh, dude, what an idea! Yes, let's do it.
But nonetheless, we do talk about video games from time to time. I'm your host this week, Joel Campos, and joining me is the man with the nacho cheese machine next to his bed on his nightstand, and it's always running. It's never off. It's always full.
That would be so uncomfortable.
John Hansen. John Hansen.
Hey, what's up? It's been a week. Let's just say that. But very excited to talk about video games again. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I'm very excited to talk about what had you stressed last week, and that is the Ace Attorney games. But we'll talk about that in a bit. I want to hear what your thoughts are on it some more.
Real quick, I looked up the Almost Random YouTube channel where we used to post the Pixel Street podcast.
Yeah.
And it looks like the first podcast I was on was 22.
22, all right. So you were pretty much here from the beginning, more or less. Yep. But this week we're going to be talking about the Blizzard president stepping down as president, and didn't he left the company? We'll talk about that.
Yes, he's gone. There's actually quite a few more moves from Blizzard after all of the sexual harassment and frat boy allegations that have been thrown around the last couple weeks. We've gone into a big deal. Now we're starting to see changes like we've been calling for the last 2 weeks, finally.
So we're going to talk about that a bit. We're going to talk about Battlefield and kind of what the future of Battlefield will look like. And then we're going to talk about Halo Infinite, baby. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joel got to play it this weekend.
Yo, I played a lot of it this weekend too. Not as much as I wanted, but I mean, I got my fair share. I mean, it gets kind of repetitive, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. But other than that, go check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Pixel Street Videos. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm brain fart. Go follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street, where you can find our pinned tweet for all of our socials. You can join our Discord, where we do pal party nights sometimes. It's been a while since we did one, but life, man, we're all busy people. It's hard to organize stuff like that. But let's just jump right into it, John. Blizzard, man. President J. Allen Brack steps down.
Yep, he announced that Blizzard announced that he has stepped down effective immediately. So if you've watched the podcast the last couple of weeks or listened to it, first of all, thank you. And may I say, your hair looks wonderful today. But I've really been talking about how from the top down, you've just got to wipe it clean. And while my big hope would be Bobby Kotick leaving, well, this is at least a good start. So really, the only reason I know who J. Allen Brack is because he's the guy with the long hair that made the apology after the Hong Kong controversy at Blizzard or at BlizzCon. Remember that?
Blitzchung or whatever?
Blitzchung, yes.
Blitzchung?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's really the only reason why I know him. I can't recall him being attached to anything else. But enough about him, because it's obviously a great thing that he's finally gone. There's been so many controversies with him at the helm. We have a new two-headed leadership team taking over Blizzard by the names of Jen O'Neill and Mike Ibarra. So, real quick, Jen O'Neill, she actually joined Blizzard earlier this year in January. Before this, though, she spent a long time as the studio head of Vicarious Visions. You'll know them as the people that made the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 and Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. They've also made tons of Activision games over the years, but now they are directly a part of Blizzard. She will be joined by Mike Ibarra, who Xbox fans should know as he was a part of Xbox for almost 20 years. It was 19 years and 6 months that he was a part of the Xbox team. He was there from the very beginning, the original Xbox and everything. Now him and O'Neill will be heading up Blizzard. And man, I just want to say this is definitely this puts Blizzard in a brighter outlook for the future than they were just yesterday, I would say. Obviously, we haven't seen what's going to happen yet with O'Neill and Ibarra as the heads of that company, but it's obvious that changes needed to be made. And from what I can see, these are two very qualified people to take over.
Yeah, I mean, I the good thing about them, the two of them taking over, is that these are two people that haven't been with the company for, more than, I think Mike Ibarra joined the company in 2019.
Yeah, it
So, I
wasn't that
mean,
long ago.
yes, so like that's a really good sign because like we were saying last week, they need to clean shop and just get rid of like all of this upper management that has been there for what, like 20ish years. They
Hmm.
like, anybody who's been there and is an upper management for more than the last 10 years needs to go in my mind, because
Hmm.
they're, them not what am I trying to say? Like their negligence just makes them look bad. You know what I mean? There's no
Absolutely.
way, if it was this bad, there's no way that they didn't know about it. And if they
Hmm.
did, them being negligent to it is just like, okay, so if you're not going to help the movement to fix this, then you're basically just
You
as
got to
bad as the
go.
people. Yeah. You're
Hmm.
just as bad as the people that are, making such a toxic workplace.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the name. I'm having troubles finding it at the moment, but I did find also the head of HR for Blizzard has also stepped away. So that was also a very big point, was that when the victims were coming out to the HR, they just weren't doing anything about it. So more changes there, which is great to see. Yeah, just hopefully things can get turned around for Blizzard. We said it before, this is just an ugly situation. And it's good to finally see changes, because with the Blitzchung thing, with all the other controversies that Blizzard has been in what, the last 6-7 years, maybe
Yeah.
even longer, there haven't been changes across the board at all. This is finally making things change. The employees going out and just refusing to work for a day and demanding change, and the whole game industry learning about all these disgusting practices, things are finally starting to look like they can change. um yeah, I know a lot of people still want to boycott Blizzard and everything. I'm not on that mindset. My mindset is more, if you boycott them, you're also boycotting the victims who
Yeah.
put so much hard work into these games. So even this week, I played Overwatch because Summer Games event is happening. So I'm not boycotting the games. If you want to, it's
I
100% your
mean,
choice. It's
I,
your time. It's your money.
I
But
agree with what you're saying. I'm not intentionally boycotting the games. I don't play
you
many
just
of
haven't
them.
played them.
Yeah,
No, but
exactly.
there are people like specifically going out and saying that, like demanding people not to give them a penny or anything. But if you do that, you're only hurt. Uh, you are hurting the company overall. But included in that company are the victims and all the people there that are doing good work and not being shit people. That's my point.
Yeah, I agree. Logical Robot in the chat says Blizzard's ultimate final reckoning is finally here. Rejoice, and then in all caps, "You're next, Bobby boy." Do you guys not have phones
Mm.
and morals? So yeah,
No.
like everybody's pretty much on the same page. So
Yep.
um Yeah, fuck those people, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Um, I don't know. I mean, this is just going to be a developing story, I'm sure, as the weeks go on.
We'll
So
we'll come back to it again in the future, I'm sure. Hopefully next week it won't be our lead-in story because this is the third week in a row
yeah,
that
yeah,
we've
for
talked
real.
about it. And I want to focus more on the better sides of gaming, but this is just too big to ignore. And
Yeah,
it's just good to finally see change. That's where I'm at
I
with it.
really hope that next week this is our opening story, but it's more resolve. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like more steps forward and less backwards. But
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
this is honestly this is already a huge step forward for Blizzard. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, more change needs to come for sure. Moving
Absolutely.
on. Question for you, John: will
What's up?
Battlefield become a game as a service?
Maybe. So yeah, during EA's financial hearing meeting, whatever you want to call it, EA CEO Andrew Wilson uh, kind of said to all the investors, "You should think of Battlefield as a service." So obviously, when you think of live service games, you think
Yeah,
of Overwatch, Destiny, games
Battlefront
that
2.
yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but really, you think of games that don't have a biannual release slate like Battlefield does. Although it's been a few years since the last Battlefield, right? When did 5 come out? 2018, I want to say.
Yeah, I think 3 years because this is the
Yeah.
longest stretch we've had in a while for a Battlefield
Hmm.
game.
But besides that, they usually release every other year, as opposed to Call of Duty, which is every single year. But Battlefield 2042 doesn't have a story mode, and it's just really going in on the features it has. What's that thing they showed off at EA
So
Play?
it's called Battlefield Portal, and
That's it.
basically,
Yeah,
I think we might have talked about it already, but
yeah.
basically, what it is you can go in and make custom matches and servers, I guess you could say, where my team is modern day with knives, and John's team is like World War II soldiers
With a
with
tank.
yeah with tanks or something ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
something that just doesn't make sense, and I could see this being a step towards maybe not this Battlefield being a live service game, but something else coming in the future. The fact that they're merging kind of all of these like character models from like modern day, previous day, and it sounds like they're gonna have older weapons mixed in with the new ones for these custom games specifically. Um, it sounds like it could go the live service route where maybe you launch this Battlefield portal in the future and you can, select, all right, what kind of server do you want to join? Do you want to join a Battlefield 5 server where you're playing World War II, Battlefield 1 where you're playing World War 1, or do you want to join like a Battlefield 2042 server where it's all modern combat? So, it seems like they're kind of just like dipping their toes in the water to see how this
Hmm.
all is going to play out, and maybe try and build the infrastructure to have this Battlefield portal be something that just is continuously added to over time.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's in my mind it seems like Battlefield Portal was an afterthought. I think that they were making Battlefield 2042, and then either somebody at the company proposed the idea of Battlefield Portal. And honestly, that name Battlefield Portal, that sounds like a live service game that is just continuously added to and
To
taken away
me,
from. Like maybe in the future they're gonna take something off the portal and add something new, kind of like Xbox Game Pass, how they add games and remove games constantly.
I'm not really of that mindset. I think of it more like Call of Duty Warzone, where it is a mode that started out in Modern Warfare, but then it became its own thing, and then it also is included in future Call of Duty games. So Battlefield Portal could just be this become its own app, let's call it, that can just integrate with future Battlefield releases. That being every other year, if they stick to that though, I'm not too sure how well that would work. So that would really point me to being like, okay, 2042 has to be the main Battlefield experience going forward if they go with this live service method, because just going 2 years without a big update to Battlefield portals would be terrible for it, honestly. um maybe not. There could be enough content there to keep people interested for a while, but I just don't see something like that living on itself. But who knows? We'll have to see once it finally comes out. You're a bigger Battlefield fan than me. Would you rather see them be a more live service game, or do you like the way they sit right now with their releases?
I personally I like the way they sit right now with the releases. That being said, like I wasn't the biggest fan of Battlefield 1. That's probably the Battlefield game I played the least in recent memory, either that or Hardline. But I like the idea that a Battlefield game comes out every other year, every 3 years, I guess at this point. Um, and I like that it's like a punch to the face with new content, right? Like you got new
Mhm.
maps, new character models, new game modes potentially, even though everybody plays Conquest for the most part, but
Yeah, really, to me, that's the only mode. Although
yeah,
I did
same.
like was it Rush?
Rush,
Yeah,
Rush.
yeah, Rush was fun.
Rush was the I think it was called Gold Rush technically in Battlefield 2, Bad Company 2, sorry.
I played it
But
in 3.
okay. Well, yeah, in I don't remember how it was in 3, but in Bad Company, you could blow up the point instead of having to plant a mine on it, you could just try and annihilate it from the helicopters and shit, which was really cool and
Oh,
blow it up with a tank. But
it's been too
yeah,
long. I couldn't tell you.
personally, I like the separate releases how they are, just because, like I said, I like that factor of like, all right, here's a completely new game, as opposed to like, say it did go the Battlefield Portal route where they just, add 3 maps every 6 months or something, and maybe
Hmm.
a few weapons with it. Like, I'm not that big of a fan of that idea.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not the biggest fan of Battlefield. I'll play it every now and then.
You're gonna
Uh,
play the new one though, right?
yeah, I'm playing the new one.
Let's go.
I really like what they're doing with the weather stuff. That looks like it could
Yeah.
be a lot of fun to play in multiplayer. I'm hoping there's more destructibility in this game, because that is the one thing that always stood out to me with Battlefield was destroying skyscrapers and everything. And
Yes.
I played Battlefield 5 with you guys, with you, Loops, and Kenny not too long ago, and I was just like really disappointed that there was some destructibility, but there were like a lot of things I wanted to bring down that I couldn't. Like there was a radio tower. I was like, "Hey, can we blow this down?" And they're like, "No, you can't do anything with that."
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, that'd be so cool."
that's the thing with Battlefield 5 too. There's not really any giant structures outside of like that radio tower you mentioned. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like I think the largest building is like 3 or 4 stories tall.
mhm.
In all the maps. I could be wrong, but from what I remember. But yeah, there's not that much destructibility. Like, yeah, you can blow up a few walls on each building, but I don't think all the buildings just
I don't
come
think you
crashing
can level a
down.
building.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is true because in Battlefield 4, that was like one of the best things to do ever.
Hmm.
Worth noting, one weird thing about Battlefield 2042, if you are buying it on the Series X or S, you cannot play with anybody that has it on the Xbox One.
Really?
Isn't that, yeah, very strange? Like, because on the Xbox One, the servers only support up to 64 players,
Hmm.
and on the Series X you can play up to what, 128, I think it is. But
Yeah,
it's
probably.
very weird that you cannot go back and play with your friends on the Xbox One.
I heard there was some weird stuff with the cross generation functionality. I haven't looked into it myself, so I couldn't tell you
I I
everything there. But yeah, that
I
would
think
be weird.
that's the major thing because like one of my
I,
buddies, we were helping him get a Series X specifically so he could play because he's a big Battlefield guy, specifically
uh,
so he could play on these larger servers, and we were able to get one for him. Loops was able to get one for him on Walmart, um, and like we told him like yeah, but like do all your friends because he plays with like another squad most of the time and he plays with us sometimes. Like, do they have Series X's? He's like no, and we're like oh well, you're gonna have to keep your current Xbox if you want to ever play with them. And
hmm.
unless they are planning on upgrading before it comes out. But yeah, very very weird. I don't know. It's very strange to me.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I wouldn't think
Which
that the servers would be too big of an issue for an Xbox One.
what I'm curious then if because wait, is it crossplay?
I I think
Cross
it is.
platform? Cross platform?
I'll look it up real quick.
Because it would be very interesting if it was cross platform. What is crossplay the word I'm looking for? having a mind
Crossplay,
fart.
yeah,
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 it'd be
crossplay.
very interesting if it was crossplay, but for whatever reason, on the previous gen consoles, you cannot play crossplay. Because
Yep.
because I would picture it as being, if I was on a Series X and you're on Xbox One, I would picture that as essentially being crossplay, right?
Yeah.
Just
So
cross generation.
real quick. This is from PC Gamer. EA says that DICE is looking to build and test crossplay for Battlefield 2042. That makes it sound like crossplay is a maybe at best, but EA also says that PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S crossplay will be tested during the invite only Battlefield 2042 technical alpha this summer. It's hard to test something you haven't built, and it's summer right now, so clearly DICE is doing more than looking at the idea. I'd go so far as to say that Battlefield 2042 will have crossplay, and EA is just giving it. Okay, that's not reporting. That's just
Okay,
giving your opinion.
all right, here we go. Battlefield 2042 will split crossplay between console generations.
Okay,
This comes from Engadget. K Holt, I don't know what Chris Holt, it looks like. EA and DICE have shed some light on their plans for crossplay in Battlefield 2042. While the feature is still in development, there likely won't be a way for all players to join the same lobbies. During an upcoming invite-only technical playtest, PS5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC players will be able to hop into games together. DICE is planning to split the player pool between gamers on those platforms and those on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. PC and console players can opt out from playing against each other, which might soothe concerns about the disparity between controllers and mouse and keyboard. So there you go. Basically, cross platform is going to be between PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Or if you're on an Xbox One, you can cross play with
with
PS4
PlayStation 4.
players.
That's so odd. It's usually the other way
It's
around.
it's very very weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, maybe it's a server thing, and I get it because on the Xbox One they said that the maps are going to be smaller, right? They're going to be
Yeah.
toned down
That I
because
understand.
they can't have as many players.
My
So
thing is like you couldn't make a mode so that even like the guys playing, say I was playing on a Series X and I wanted to play with someone on an Xbox One, I can't join into those smaller maps with them
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
at all.
strange. I
That's so
like
weird.
I wonder I wonder if there's going to be a work, like, is it, what's it called? God, I'm drawing so many mind farts today. What's it called when you buy a game on Xbox One and you get the free upgrade? Smart delivery.
Smart
I
delivery, yeah.
wonder if this is going to have smart delivery, and if I can have both versions of the game installed on my Series X. You know what I mean?
That would be interesting.
That
That
would
would be
that would
a lot of space, I'm sure.
yeah, because you're basically installing the
Um,
game twice. But it'd be a
yeah,
workaround if that was possible. But
I'm not sure because I tested something like that out with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War last year. I installed both versions, but I didn't notice anything different between them besides some graphical things, obviously. But like I don't know. It got to the point where I also felt like I was playing the Series X version in the Xbox One version, but maybe because I was playing it on a Series X, it was already like heightening up the performance. I'm not sure. That's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah, you're completely right. It's so weird that you can't do it.
yeah, very strange. That being said, I'm gonna divert a little bit to just the whole smart delivery fiasco. Kenny was just over at my apartment a little bit ago because he went to go see an apartment nearby, and we were looking at when the Ghost of Tsushima DLC comes out. And I launched my PS5, and we were looking. It comes out like in a week or two. But regardless, I was like, I don't want to pre-order it right now because I don't know which one to pre-order. Like, which one do I buy that is gonna upgrade me to the PS5 version and give me the expansion? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's way more confusing on PS5 than it is anywhere else.
Since we game share, I think I bought that one.
Yeah, if I buy
So
the DLC, it should work.
okay. Yeah, PlayStation is so
You know what I mean? Because
odd with their cross generation stuff.
I think it depends because some games get the upgrade for free, right? But I don't think Ghost of Tsushima does, and I think that's what's weird about it. But maybe if I buy the
Not
DLC,
on PlayStation. No, because you had the upgrade Spider-Man Miles Morales as well. You had to pay for that
y- y-
upgrade.
yeah. But so
And
yeah,
the first Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's why I'm like, I don't want to pre-order it and then it come out and I realize like, oh shit, I pre-ordered the $20 version, and I don't have the PS5 version of the game. I'm only playing the PS4 version on my PS5. Whereas
Yeah.
like there's a $30 version on there where it upgrades me to the PS5 version and gives me the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's so confusing
It's
and
very confusing.
very
It's too
confusing.
confusing for something that could just be easily upgraded if you already own the game. That's the way it should
Yeah.
be. Sony, come on, get on this.
Hey, did we talk about the SSD situation last week on
I
PS5?
don't think we did.
Okay, well we're gonna erase this thing that we have on here, and
Okay.
we'll talk about it in my games I've played, and let's talk about the SSD situation. You want to look something up while I just bring it up?
Look up something on the PlayStation 5
Yeah.
SSD.
So Sony announced last week that you can now install your own SSD, as long as it's compatible within their parameters into your PS5. And it is such a meme on the internet right now of like it's like, hey, yeah, it can meet these parameters. I think it has to have 5500
Also,
megabits per second
real quick, it's only in
speed.
beta, so only some people can
Yeah.
do it right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. And from what I've heard is to never sign up for the PlayStation beta for their software because it is a hot mess all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, they put out parameters. It's got to be, I think, a Gen 4 M.2 NVMe drive, and has to be at least 5,500 megabytes per second. They put that out there, and then they also put the caveat like, but worth noting, it may still not work, which
Yeah.
is absolutely ridiculous that you can put that
Well,
caveat on there.
that's also something that you say a lot with betas, so that
Yeah,
might be why
true.
they threw it in there.
Um, and another thing is they put in like specific sizes. So they said you could buy that, but you also need to have a heat sink with it because apparently the ventilation, from what I've heard online, in that area is just very bad. So
Okay.
you don't want it to overheat, obviously. So PlayStation said to make sure you have a heat sink, and then they put up a chart that has different sizes of what is going to fit in this port, and then allow you to close the system back up. So yeah,
Yeah.
basically you have to disassemble your PlayStation to
Yeah,
install this thing.
I pulled up PlayStation's thing talking about how to add an M.2 SSD to a PS5 console. Before you begin, you'll need a well-lit room with a table to work on, a number one Phillips or crosshead screwdriver, and a small flashlight. Optional. Important, this feature is only available to beta users at this time. If you have installed your M.2 SSD in a console that does not have beta system software installed, you need to remove your M.2 SSD before you can update the system software. Before proceeding with the installing or removing process, touch a metal grounded object to remove any static electricity from your body. Failure to do so may cause damage to your M.2 SSD or PS5 console. If you stop using your beta program version and restore the system software to the latest official release version, and you have an M.2 SSD inserted, you'll need to remove it before restoring the system software. If you don't remove your M.2 SSD before restoring, the system software might not work correctly, and you might need to install the beta program version again to fix the problem. That sounds like a lot of a headache for something that just might not work. And I definitely would not go in trying to do this. I'm also terrible with handling PC parts, like electronic stuff. I'm not good with it. So just not for me overall.
Yeah, I agree. Hold on, I'm looking for an article I saw posted earlier this morning. Um,
Okay.
where they tested. I can't find it right now. Man, that's too bad. But they put in a pretty like the slowest SSD M.2 SSD they could find,
Mm-hmm.
which is significantly less expensive than the ones that Sony has as their like requirements. And they said it worked fine. They couldn't tell a difference between loading a game off that. They tested Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which I imagine is probably one of the more intense games to be loading into, like we talked about in our review of the game,
Yeah.
in terms of load times and stuff off the SSD. And they said they launched that off the SSD and they played a bunch of it and they couldn't tell a difference between playing on that and off the internal hard drive. So it seems like, honestly, if you are considering buying an SSD for your PS5, I would 100% wait like
Hmm.
5-6 months if you can, right? Let everybody test this out. Let them beta test this. Find which ones work and don't work. I'm sure there's going to be, a list on IGN, GameSpot, Windows Central, wherever you want to find gaming news, Kotaku. There's going to be a master list out there of ones that do and don't work, and pros and cons of each one. I'm sure,
Uh,
because you don't want to put something in there and then in 6 months you find out it's just fried because it is too slow or something, and it just over time has deteriorated.
and ruin your console.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Real quick before we move on, let's just compare this to Xbox's handling of extra SSD storage. I haven't done it because it's still a lot of money,
I
but I know
have.
you grabbed the
Yeah,
add-on
the
storage. And
Seagate.
how easy was it for you to do that?
It was as easy as putting a memory card into an Xbox 360.
There you go.
Very simple.
Um,
I mean,
yeah.
they took two different routes, right? And I think right now Xbox's route is paying off for them heavily, right? But
Hmm.
5 years down the road, that could change. But also, who knows? Maybe we have a next iteration of Xbox that allows SSDs to be installed inside. Who knows? But yeah, as the prices of M.2 SSD drives go down, I think Sony's going to come out, as the winner here, just because of how cheap those options could potentially get in the future. But right now, Xbox having the proprietary Seagate drive, and nobody else, like no other drive in sight. So we'll see. I'm thinking that Seagate has some sort of, partnership with Xbox for a year, maybe 2 years, where they can be the only company creating these. But I hope it's not. I can't imagine that it's it's a permanent deal between the two, because if that were the case, I think Microsoft would have just developed their own drive themselves and just
They
profited, made
definitely
all the
could have done
profit.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that Seagate might have,
Spent a
pay,
lot of money.
yeah, spent a lot of money to have that exclusive deal to get these sales.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see what the future holds.
Yep.
Definitely, definitely need more storage space on your PS5. It's ridiculous that you have to go jump through all these hoops to do so, and it's also insane that they finally announced this. Like, what are we, like 9 months after launch, 8 months after launch?
Yeah. Yeah. Really
Like, and
close.
it took this long for them to just now announcing a beta test for it is pretty crazy,
Yeah.
especially when you consider the Series X has a terabyte hard drive. The PS5 only has an 825 gig hard drive,
Is it
and
even
that's
that?
no, it is that,
It is that.
and that's
Okay.
before the firmware, before
Yeah.
the software on it. So it's really like 675 or something like that.
Yeah. That must have been what I was thinking of. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but at, at least they're making the moves. But this would have been so much better if Sony would have thought ahead to just have a port in the back of it like Xbox did that you can just easily insert it in. I'm sure the next PlayStation 5 model, whenever that comes out in like 2-3 years, it will have it. Um, or at least you got to figure it will, but who knows with
I'm,
Sony?
I mean, I don't know though, because the PS4, to upgrade the hard drive, you had to take the PS4 apart.
You're right. You're very right. Yeah, who knows? We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Who knows? John, take us through some quick news.
Real quick though, we have some breaking news
What's that?
about the PlayStation 5 virtual reality.
No
So,
way.
I have just been notified that new PSVR 2 details have leaked from a Sony developer conference. This is my first time reading through this, so apologies if I mess this up. But all right, a video posted. Oh, this is from Kotaku. Alexandra Hall, by the way. A video posted today by popular VR YouTube channel PSVR Without Parole purports to have new information about Sony's next generation virtual reality hardware for PlayStation 5. PSVR Without Parole claims to have sourced fresh information from a private conference Sony held on Tuesday for prospective PSVR 2 developers. According to PSVR Without Parole, Sony's next VR platform is codenamed NGVR for next generation VR, but it will likely be called PSVR 2 when released. As Upload VR reported in May, PSVR 2's display will have a resolution of 2000 by 2040 per eye, which is a solid little bump above the world's current most popular headset, the Oculus Quest 2. In addition, PSVR Without Parole suggests the screen will utilize OLED display technology and support high dynamic range, potentially giving it a lot more vibrancy, deeper blacks, and greater brightness than the Quest 2's more typical non HDR LCD display. The new kit will supposedly feature a 110-degree field of view, up to 10 degrees from Sony's original PSVR, and around 20 better than the slightly scuba mask feeling Oculus Quest 2. This wide FOV will be accomplished in part via Fresnel lenses, which come with pros and cons that Quest users are already well acquainted with. I don't know, you'd have to tell me about that.
I'm not
Hopefully,
sure.
hopefully Sony will get the glare and God rays under control. Perhaps the biggest news back in May was that PSVR 2 will feature eye tracking. That's back in May. PSVR without parole corroborates Upload VR's information from May that PSVR 2 will have some sort of haptic feedback in the headset to help reduce motion sickness, apparently via a rotary motor. I'm interested in that because that's been my main problem with VR is I get sick on it. Um, and then finally, some of the most interesting tidbits dropped in a vid concerned software. The claim is that Sony is looking to move away from so called VR experiences, like pretending you're Batman for 90 minutes or swimming with whales for 10, in favor of a greater focus on console quality AAA games. Yeah, so there's some more in it, but it looks like a lot of just filler.
My main question is, did it say anywhere in here that they're cutting the cord? Like,
It did
I
not.
exactly, and that's my biggest concern, honestly. Like, I've seen the other side now. I played
Well,
with my
then
PSVR for 4
haven't Sony
years.
said that there will be one cord?
I don't know exactly what it
I
is.
think there was a report that came out that said there will be one cord for the headset.
I mean, the PSVR 1 has one cord. One cord
No,
is
you have like the whole box and from what I understand, I haven't looked deep into it, but it's just the one cord, not the extra cords and everything to hook
Oh,
everything up
okay. Like,
with the camera and
yeah,
everything.
that's not that big of a problem though. Like, because when you have that
I
thing
think
set
that's a
up,
pretty big problem for casuals, at least.
no, because if you have that box set up, you're not gonna unhook it every time you use it. You're just unplugging the cord from that box. You know what I
Well, that's
mean?
the thing. People would unplug it and not hook it up again because it was a lot to hook up.
In mine, I would unhook every time because since I got the OG one, it didn't have HDR pass through, which
Hmm.
was shitty. So I would unhook it and not redo it. But like, if you have one that's fully compatible, I don't see why it's that big of a problem. But yeah, either way, I think one cord at all is still too much. Like, everybody has seen the Quest 2, right? Everybody's seen that has kind of like taken off so much more than any VR headset, as of late at least. Especially because like the price point, like $300 is super cheap for that technology, and the fact that it's all standalone, like it's got the computer built into it itself, is fucking wild. So I don't know. I can't see myself wanting a PSVR 2 if I have to plug it into my PlayStation at all after having owned a Oculus Quest 2 now.
If it's just one cord, it's a lot better than it was before. If they do a great job of cutting down on the motion sickness, I will consider it. Uh, I'll at least give it a try because I've said it so many times. I get so sick on VR gaming.
Yeah.
After like 15 minutes, I'm done. So if they find a way to stop that from happening, I'm in, and I'll definitely give it a try. We'll definitely be interested to see these AAA console quality games they're talking about because PSVR before is, like they said, all about that experience. It's not about putting out a massive, great game for you to spend hours in. Uh, it's more shorter experiences. Yeah, it's just gonna come down to price. Like from the sounds of things, it looks like they're no the original PSVR was trying to be the cheaper headset model, the accessible one for you to get into,
And it
and
was at the
it
time.
it was. But from the sounds of things, it looks like they're trying to outdo Oculus Quest with this headset. So it may be more expensive than people are looking for. What was the first one? Like $300, I want to say.
No,
This one,
it was 500.
was it 500? Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and it was 500 because you had to buy the bundle that came with the PS camera, the two Move controllers that were outdated as shit,
yeah.
the box that, had for the VR headset and all that.
So now you've got a new headset, new controllers and everything. Yeah, you're probably looking at 500, 600 again then.
I mean, you have to imagine that this new headset is going to utilize the new camera, right? Because as of right now, that new
The
PlayStation
camera doesn't
camera,
have any use.
it's unless you're going to stream directly from your PlayStation on Twitch or something.
Do they want to go that route again though? Because there's a lot of people that had a lot of problems with that
That's what I'm
camera.
saying. Well, yeah, like why the fuck did they even make the new one if they're not going to use
Yeah,
it for anything? It doesn't make sense.
yeah.
It'd
I
be
don't
like
know.
if Xbox made a Connect again and didn't use it again.
Oh, hello, Xbox One launch.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm still excited to see what they do with it. Like some of those PSVR games are really cool. Like Moss was cool, but that has since been ported to Steam, I believe, since it came out on PlayStation.
It is getting a
Um,
sequel though.
yeah, exactly. Like Astrobot VR Rescue. It like you would love to play that game if this new
Mhm.
headset fixes motion sickness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then
for
you'll have
sure.
the opportunity to do so. I also hope that for whatever reason they don't make it like I hope that it doesn't end up being that you cannot play old PSVR games on this new headset. That would be the most ridiculous thing they could do. Um,
Yeah,
Especially considering the fact that like they have a huge library of VR games out there already that are playable. But these companies
but
are weird, so who knows? I could see it being some weird thing where
Sony
it's
is weird.
yes. I could see it being some weird thing like, yeah, well really it's not compatible with PS4
What
VR
if
games.
what if the PSVR 2 doesn't have that camera support? It just works on its own. But for those original games, you
Yeah.
have to have a camera and everything.
That's what I'm saying. Would they be putting technology for both into this device? That's why I
That would
think
drive up the cost, I would think.
yes, exactly. That's why I think that technologically speaking, we know nothing about this shit, right? But
Yeah.
I think that that's the biggest argument for them sticking with the camera is
Mhm.
the fact that they want it to work seamlessly with the whole library of VR games out there
I got
currently.
you.
But who knows? We know nothing about it. It could be that it's just easy, like fucking Mr. Sony's watching this right now. I'm like, oh, you stupid idiot, you know nothing. It
Yeah,
was
you don't know anything.
all I have to do
Or
is
he's
hit this
looking at
button.
or he's watching us and he's like, oh, they found us out.
Yeah, no, he's watching. He's like, fuck, how are we gonna get them to play those old games?
Right? Yeah.
Um, all right, John. Any more surprises, or are you gonna take us into the
No.
quick news?
No, it's quick news time. First up, real world college athlete likenesses could possibly be in EA Sports College Football. I know you're very excited for this game, right?
I mean, yeah, I played the NCAA games back in the day. I've never been very big on them, but the thing I like the most about the NCAA football games, not to sidetrack too much, is that you could create a player and play with him freshman year through senior year, and then you could get
Mhm.
drafted in Madden, and you can
Yeah, and then
continue the
play through
career
that.
over. And I thought
Yeah.
that was the coolest shit ever as like a 13-year-old kid.
Gotcha. I never got into the NCAA games, but I've played some Maddens. I honestly, knowing EA, I think this is just going to be Madden, but with college players. But EA Chief Operating Officer Blake Jurgensen says we are building architecture of the game with database structure. If and when that comes online, we can add it to the game very seamlessly. This all comes out recently after the NCAA finally dropped its bullshit rule that athletes couldn't get any monetary gain from being sports, even though they were highly banking off of their likenesses and everything, but
Oh
they
yeah,
weren't letting the players do it. So with that going under, there's a pretty good chance I see this happening now. At
yeah,
least
I agree.
the big names will be there. Probably not the little ones because
Yeah, you're not
I
gonna.
don't see EA isn't gonna pay every single college
Yeah,
to be
no.
in.
Yeah, D1
Um,
schools, yeah, they're not going to pay a D3 schools players, but who knows? Maybe they do in some way. Just like say, hey, if you want to take part in this a D3 school, here's $1,000 to that school or something.
mhm,
Distribute it amongst your players however you want, or
yep,
I don't know.
yeah. Next up, 2K is set to reveal a new franchise later this month, and it will release by March 2022. No idea what it is. Hopefully, it's something cool. But yeah, that's really all we got.
Yeah,
They've
what do you
talked
want
a
us to
lot.
say about it?
Yeah, they've talked a lot about their release schedule and how some games in their core franchises have been pushed back a little bit and everything because pandemic and everything. But they all year long they've stuck to this. There's a new franchise coming out very soon. No information on who's making it. No information on what it is. Even that's it. Next up, Halo Infinite files included a battle royale reference. I 343 keeps saying that they're the only BR that they're focused on is the battle rifle.
Well, I mean, they said that one time, right?
They
And that
said
was
that
like
one
a year.
time,
That was
and it
like a
was
year
a
and a
year
half
ago.
ago.
In
And
that time, they could have easily made a battle royale in Infinite.
so my take on this is I'm all for it as long as I can tell that it didn't take away from the multiplayer experience at all.
My thing is not doing this at launch because you want the experience at launch to be about that classic Halo multiplayer experience. You want that to be the focus. You want that to be the main reason everyone comes in. Maybe in half a year or something, then you introduce it and you're like, hey, this is a very exciting thing. Battle Royale, you've all been asking for it forever. Come back in the Halo Infinite. That's what I would do personally. But
That being said, I think Halo lends itself perfectly for a BR game. Like I've been saying it for a long time. Like they have all the weapons you can want. They got all the vehicles. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty interesting to play.
Next up, Horizon Forbidden West has been delayed to 2022, surprising absolutely no one in this podcast because I've been saying it forever that this wasn't coming out this year.
It just makes you wonder what Sony's going to be pushing this fall, this holiday.
Yeah,
just PS5s.
God of War and Horizon both got pushed out of 2021. So what do they have left? Those were the two big ones, right?
Deathloop.
Yeah, they're gonna really be pushing that Microsoft-owned game.
Yeah, they're gonna be pushing that, and like,
isn't there a new Gran Turismo? When's that coming out?
I don't think this year.
Gran Turismo. I don't even know what it's called, but new game. Okay, 7. Nope, it's set for next year. Yeah, wow. This is the first time in a long time. I don't think Sony has anything big coming out in a holiday. Right?
I mean, what did they have last holiday? Ghost of Tsushima?
They had the PlayStation 5 and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh yeah, there you go. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be really weird to see. I'm sure they've got more to show for this year, right? At some point. We'll see. Finally, Capcom want to know if you want more Ace Attorney. The answer is yes, we want more Ace Attorney. I'll get into that here in a little bit about the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. But following that release, Capcom are running a survey on their website. I just did it before we started the podcast. Go in, let them know if you played the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let them know what you think about that. And if you really want more Ace Attorney, the answer is yes, because it's an amazing series that I just want more of. And my dog keeps squeaking her toy. Yeah, absolutely amazing game series. Can't wait to see more on it. And that's it for quick news, at least.
Cool. Let's talk about what we've been playing real quick, and then we will get out of here. I'll go first.
Start us off. You got Halo Infinite.
Halo Infinite. You can go watch me and Will's first impressions video on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/pixelstreetvideos. We talked for about an hour, just about our thoughts on pretty much everything. We nitpicked the game. Like we talked about every weapon, all the abilities, all the maps. We talked about technical difficulties, stuff like that. Overall, the game played great. It was very smooth. I would kind of say that it feels like they made a game to add to the Master Chief Collection that would fit in with those games, but be modern, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because
real quick, what if they added in a matchmaking thing in Master Chief Collection that was Halo Infinite included?
I mean, it's possible because the multiplayer is free.
Yeah,
definitely possible, but who knows?
That'd be really cool.
Overall, the game felt great, ran very, very smoothly. There were some technical issues, some bugs, but I mean, this is a 2-month-old build and the game's not even out yet. So overall, it ran really good. I had a blast.
It wasn't even called a beta.
Yeah, it was called a technical preview. I had a blast playing it. I'm very excited for when the game comes out. I just want to know when it's coming out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, just
I
let
can't
us
believe we
know.
still don't know, man.
In
Like,
so
ugh,
here
so ridiculous.
here's my theory of what's gonna happen. I think that they're gonna release this multiplayer this year, and I think it's potential that the campaign gets delayed into next year. Just that being that the multiplayer is free. Paris Lilly was on the XCast and he hosted that what was it,
That show.
the
Yeah.
Xbox show, and he was talking about how he went out one night and got drinks with somebody from 343, and they told him, like, from what they were saying, it seemed like he wouldn't be surprised if the game got delayed into next year because of COVID and all that stuff. So
Mm.
that being said, I could definitely see them, no matter what, releasing this multiplayer, especially after how high everybody has been on it this weekend. Like, everybody's been very, very positive on what we played. And the fact that it's free to play, they have everybody thinking about it now. So why not release it this year? And if they have to delay something, I think that it's going to be the campaign that gets delayed into next year.
Yeah, it's just Phil Spencer and 343 have both been so adamant about the multiplayer and single player will release at the same time for this. So that would have to take something pretty significant causing them to delay it. They've been so gung ho on this year, it releasing this holiday. So uh, if something has messed up with the campaign, then yeah, I could see it. That would shock me. I would be absolutely shocked if any part of Halo Infinite got pushed into next year. Um, yeah, that's really
It
all I
would
can
suck.
think of.
I want them both like tomorrow, but I mean, we'll
Mhm.
see. I guess what time brings. But the beta ran very well. Having played beta, I keep calling it the tech preview. Having played it, I don't see this. At least the multiplayer, I don't see it getting delayed into next year. Like, I think that this is
It was that
probably,
good.
yeah, I think this is probably very close to being ready, and I think this tech preview probably gave them the feedback they need to, fully fix these bugs. And granted, they already announced that there's going to be another flight at some point in the future. So what I'm guessing is that the next test flight is going to be based around adding vehicles into it. I think it's going to be mainly PvP. So basically, this past weekend, what it was you played against bots all weekend. They flipped the switch for 4v4 PvP on Sunday for 2 hours, and then they turned it off again. So I think this next one's going to be heavily PvP related, and I think they're also going to include some vehicles in there to try and get you to break those as well.
And more people. I'm hoping I can get in.
Yeah, exactly. If you have not gotten in or not signed up, go to halowaypoint.com to sign up for the test flights. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in terms of what I've been
Okay.
playing.
Yeah. I took a break this weekend, so I definitely need to check out your streams and that first impressions video with Will because very excited, but I of course didn't get into the technical preview. So my last week has been focused on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, playing as that boy right there. His name is I'm gonna mess this up. Ryunosuke. I can't remember his last name. I only know his first name because that's the one that comes up on the text line. Uh, Lena. So yeah, you play as him, and it's just like the great, or not the great, just Ace Attorney as Phoenix Wright. He plays this lawyer. You're defending your people. Tons and tons of twists and turns along the way. Uh, yeah, so good, man. I absolutely love it. The only problem is there are two games included in this collection, and there is probably about 60 hours worth of gameplay. Huge game, and I had to get a lot of content out on it. So I'm kind of burnt out on it already. I was really stressing myself out on it because this is a series that you don't want to rush through it. You want to enjoy every step along the way. You want to enjoy those dramatic twists and turns and everything. Uh, it's so good, man. I know this probably isn't something up your alley, but I really think you and Connor should at least give the Ace Attorney trilogy a try, the older one.
I don't know if it's for me, man. I don't know if I can do it.
I this isn't it's not a game that we can let's play, so we're not gonna do anything like that because
Yeah,
it just takes way too long. Um, it's just the story's so funny. It's filled with so much emotion. There's so much going on. Uh, at the end of the day, like you finish up a thing and you I've never been on a roller coaster, but I imagine it's like going on a roller coaster where you're you're just it's just overcome with like you're kind of tired at the end of it to deal with. Um, yeah, that's really all I got on that. Also, I've been playing. I started up Horizon Zero Dawn finally on PlayStation
I,
5.
I got to get to it, man.
Yep. Especially with Forbidden West being pushed out, I was like, okay, this is my time right now to get through this game. I've
Yeah.
played about 5 hours, I would guess 5 6 hours. So I would imagine I'm still in the beginning. Um, and it's really good. I enjoy it a lot. It looks beautiful, except for facial animations look bad. It looks really weird when people talk. Um,
I
I
don't
don't.
remember noticing that when I played a little bit of it.
Um, I noticed it a lot. It's so weird. They look the people when they're talking, they look robotic to me. It just doesn't look good at all. But other than that, the gameplay is great. I absolutely love the bow and arrow gameplay in this game. It is up there with like probably Tomb Raider with like the best bow and arrow in the game. I would say. It feels great to shoot. I love knocking out the Watchers. I think they're called with one hit. You just hit them right in the face. Um, the one thing I would say I really wish this game had was something with Breath of the Wild where you can climb structures from anywhere. With this game, there are like missions and stuff that you have to get on these rocks and everything, but you have to find specific like handholds.
Points.
There's like
Yeah.
yeah, they've got like boards put up on specific
Yeah.
sections for you to climb up. If I could just like walk up to it and climb it myself, I think that would be a lot better. But maybe that's just the spoiled Zelda fan in me coming out. But otherwise, I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to play more. I'll probably play more tonight before I go to bed.
Yeah, that's a game I wish they did a PS5 upgrade for.
It is odd that they haven't, especially since their other big games have gotten it. God of War and the first Spider-Man game. This was like that third game and if like the biggest PlayStation 4 games and it just hasn't gotten any updates, which is
God of
weird.
War didn't get a PS5 upgrade, did it?
Yeah, it did. At
Oh,
least I think it did. I thought it did.
maybe
I
it did.
could
I
check.
just can't remember.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm pretty sure it did. God of War PS5 upgrade. Yep. Yeah, it got it in February.
it's weird how they're picking and choosing which ones to do because like people have been petitioning for Bloodborne to get an upgrade for years because they've wanted an upgrade for PS4 Pro so that it would be at 60 FPS at least.
Yeah.
But like another one's like, why haven't they done, Last of Us Part 2? Why didn't they get an upgrade yet?
Did
Maybe
that not
they're,
get an upgrade?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Another one,
Maybe I
Horizon.
think actually I think the first one did. The first Last of Us.
Really?
I want to or it got something. I think it came uh something like that came out right before that we heard about the company trying to make a remake of it.
Oh
Last
no,
of Us
so
Part 2 does have an upgrade on
it does,
PS5.
yeah. A performance
Yep.
patch. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. The important thing, even though Horizon doesn't have it, if Days Gone gets one before Horizon, then we
Yeah,
does Days Gone have a PS5 upgrade?
I don't think Days Gone does.
Oh,
I'm losing you're lagging a little bit, John.
oh, sorry.
Does it have an upgrade though? Days Gone PS5
Um,
upgrade.
it looks like it might. I think it does.
No way does that game have one. Looked online but can't find anything 100% confirming this. Do I need to play the game from internal PS5 SSD or can I get the upgrades from my external? It's just the patched PS4 version. I'm playing on my external drive and it's better. It's butter smooth 4K 60 FPS. So I don't think that it has a PS5 upgrade. It's just that you could tell a noticeable
It's the
difference.
better.
Yeah, you could just tell that it's better because
Okay,
you are playing on newer, better hardware.
gotcha.
But yeah, that concludes this week's episode of the Pixel Street podcast. Thanks so much for watching or listening to the podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We are slowly growing, but um, we've gotten a lot more subs recently than I expected. So that's a plus. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Pixel Street videos. We would appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, we've been posting my Countdown to Infinite series, which is a series of Let's Plays where me and Will, friend of the show, have been playing through every Halo game on Legendary difficulty and reviewing them as we go, doing like a quick 10 to 20 minute review of each game. We also recently put up our Halo Infinite first impressions video where we talk for, like I said, about an hour about all the ins and outs of the preview and answer probably pretty much any question you could possibly have. If not, leave questions in the comments and we will answer them. We do unboxing videos there. John analyzes some videos, some trailers for games coming out, and we're going to be covering some Back for Blood this weekend with the beta starting, so stay tuned for that. John, where can the people find you on the internet?
On Twitter, I am at RevXShadows. You can also find my writing on GamePro.com. You can definitely expect me to be, let's say, shoulder deep in the Back for Blood beta this weekend. I'll be writing about it. I'm sure we'll put up a Let's Play of it. We'll see what else we can get out of it. So excited to play that game again. Other than that, we're gonna continue Doki Doki Literature Club. It's just we have to find the right moment to do it, but we will go back to that. We'll get Connor, even though he's on break and everything.
Yeah.
But look out for Back for Blood this weekend. It's gonna be some fun.
Yep. You could follow me on Twitter at Campo63 or twitch.tv/Campo63 as well. Yeah, we'll be right back here next week for episode 155 of the Pixel Street podcast.
Bye.